Hi friends, Roxanne here. I just wanted to share something new that I've started in April, and it is a perpetual nature journal. So I've got the front cover marked in, and since there's 52 weeks in a year and usually 26 pages in a sketchbook, you can get 1 week per page. So I just wrote out the weeks. You can see like this one is January 1 through 7, and I just penciled in everything. And it was April 5th when I started this. So my first sketch was from the garden. I started placing things. The following week, April 8th was when the solar eclipse was. So I wanted to make sure I got that in there. So I also made a little sleeve out of vellum to put my solar glasses in so I could save those. And then I would just, whatever date that I had, I could fill in something that I gathered from the yard that day, or I was teaching at the Audubon Center on I guess that was the 13th. So I brought in some sprigs to talk about doing a perpetual journal. I totally missed this week of the 15th through 21st. And then I finally got back to my journal on the 22nd through the 28th. This was a little demo that I had played with online, and I wanted to include that. So I had this cute envelope from France, and I just glued that in so I could, slip in some things. We had violets in the yard. The moss is growing on the rocks. It's really pretty. And then this, of course, I skipped another week. May 6th through 12th, I was teaching at the Audubon Center again, and I was talking about birds because May is migration month. So I've been seeing a lot of goldfinches in my yard, so I wanted to make sure I drew that. And they also have a lot of stuffed mounts there. So, they're stuffed taxidermied birds that had been found dead and preserved so that people could use them for study. So, which we did. It was wonderful. So one of the birds that I got to study from the mounts was this little yellow-bellied sapsucker. And I wanted to talk about a new paintbrush that I have discovered. This is pretty fun. So let me put this aside. Oh, and just another note about why it's called a perpetual nature journal. So you can see I've obviously did not get around this year to these dates. Next year I might. So this could go on in perpetuity until I completely fill this book. So next year I can probably fit in some, couple of things around the corners, maybe a plant that I found, things like that. So anyway, I think that's going to be a fun nature journal. But let me talk about this little Dagger brush. This was pretty fun. Whoops, I'm going to slide my camera down. And I used this brush to paint this whole little woodpecker, which has a lot of detail. And, normally I would have gone for maybe a size 8 and then down to a size 1 or 2 for all the tiny detail. But the nice thing about this brush, this is let's see if I can get it under the camera. It's a Princeton Select Dagger Striper. Got it off Amazon. It's a 1/4 inch. And the tip looks like this. You can see it's got like a curvy, swervy thing to it. So the whole width is a 1/4 inch, but it comes to this really nice angle. So I want to show you the nice thing about this that made it fun to paint that little woodpecker was, I'm going to gather some indigo paint, and we're just going to make a little puddle of indigo so it's nice and dark. You can see it. So you can use the whole width of the brush, and look how much, you can really cover, for a 1/4 inch brush, a nice, pretty wide swath. But then also, you can get some really nice thin lines as well. And if you really, play with a light touch, you can get it, some pretty thin ones if you get up on that tip. So I just found it to be so helpful when you were, trying to get in these little feathery areas that you want really a narrow brush. So I just turned it backward actually. And whenever I'm getting ready to do, something like that with detail, I always have a scrap paper so that I can take a couple of swatches and just to check, do I have a big enough brush? Can I cover, I can't cover like a whole huge sky, but still the width on this gives me some pretty good filling space. But then also when I really want to get some light touch with some fine lines, this is holding a lot of color to allow me a lot of lines in a row without having to redip and redip. I find when I'm using a smaller brush, like even a 4, that belly is so much smaller, it only holds a little bit. And if you get a long liner, they're kind of a little more swishy. So this is just the right touch. So anyway, if you're looking for something new to experiment with, this little Princeton Select Dagger Striper 1/4 inch, it's a lot of fun. Might be a fun one for your sketchbook habit too. All right, have a great day. Happy painting. Love ya. Bye.